As parents, when our children make certain mistakes due to bad decision or peer pressure, we need to understand one thing, that it is most likely going to be a lonely road. Because when it happens, people will judge you. People will sell their opinions to you. Things that ordinarily they will not do, they will sell it to you. And when you don't take their opinions, when you don't take their ideas, their advice, they will start to make you feel irresponsible. They start to judge you. They make you feel like you have not done enough, or that you have not raised your child or your children well. In fact, people will make you to question your ability as a parent. But instead of dwelling so much on that, when your child make mistakes, especially mistakes that they cannot handle on their own, and especially children that are still children, what you should focus on is how to help that child. You should focus on doing what is best for that child. Because whatever you do, whatever decision you take on behalf of that child, will either make or mar his or her destiny. Whatever decision you take is either going to condemn that child to everlasting bitterness, or it will make that child to remember you and love you forever. So, mistakes are inevitable. Be wise. Be wise how you deal with your child when situations arise. People are not going to be there in the future when your child starts to blame you. Do what will help your child. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to this channel, thank you, and please don't forget to subscribe, and also do not forget to hit the notification button. So this morning, in fact, I had planned to do something fun today, because I just saw this movie Anikulapo, and what I wanted to do today, was just to make a funny review about the movie. But unfortunately, this morning when I woke up to the news of a lady that passed on, because of another domestic violence. This person, her name is Bimbo. I saw it on Gist Lover. And funny enough, this lady came out sometimes 2019, 2020, I think, that I saw a write-up about her, about the fact that she was in an abusive marriage with her husband. One IK Ogbonna or something. Is social, I think the guy deals in vehicles, So, and I saw that write-up in 2019. I saw a lot of comments, you know, when people said she should leave. Why was she staying on? Was it because of the money? Blah blah blah. You know, and you know, I saw it then, and I just, you know, just passed by. But today, when I woke up to the news that she set herself on fire, as she set her house ablaze, and her husband, the abuser, escaped with minor injuries, but she was seriously burnt, and at the end of the day, she succumbed to the burns. And I felt so bad. That was really an unfortunate event, you know, for the family and our children. But one thing that I really want to talk about this morning about this lady was the fact that I read in the news that she actually started she got pregnant at the age of 15 for this same man, and automatically they got married, you know. And my point this morning, or what I really want to talk about this morning, is going to be directed to parents, you know, because for a girl of 15 years old to get pregnant, and then she was given to the man, because I'm sure back then, that was 22 years ago, I think. Back then, the parents would have been aware that she was pregnant, and then maybe they felt, okay, what will people say? You know, maybe they are Christian or Muslims or whatever they are, or maybe they are, you know, they have positions in their religious outfits, or because of the family or something, you know, they now had to tell her to go follow the man, you know. That could be the reason. But when I saw that particular write-up, I just thought to myself that this could have been me. It's so pathetic. And that is why this morning I am going to talk about the other aspect, you know, of why she stayed on, because I don't know why she actually stayed on even after coming out to say she was being abused. She could have just left, you know, but she went back. But going back to the fact that she got pregnant at 15, and then she went ahead to marry this man. So I'm going to tell you a little story about myself, which I'm not proud of this story. I just want to, you know, say this to encourage parents, especially, you know, about how to deal with some kind of issues when it comes to our children. Like I said, it's not a story that I'm proud of, but I am proud of what my parent did, especially my father. And I am also proud of what I have become today with the support of my parents. So, around that same age of this lady, I also got pregnant. I was impregnated, you know. I was brought up from a Christian home, as in a disciplined home. My father was a disciplinarian. My mom too, a disciplinarian. And, you know, a Christian home and everything. But, you know, sometimes things happen that a child can just derail. And today I'm praying for every child that has derailed, for every child that has gone astray, that the mercy of God will bring them back. So, going back to my story, you know, I got pregnant, and I remembered when my father, because that was the first time I was going to have sex, and it resulted in pregnancy, and I didn't know. I was just doing my own thing, So it was my mom that actually discovered, and she told my daddy to take me to a hospital, and when he did, they found out that I was pregnant. In fact, I can still remember how my father wept that day. Each time that thing comes back to me, I cry because I saw my father wept. He was so disappointed in me that, you know, a brilliant girl, well brought up, what happened, you know? And that was how it started. But at that time, my parents were confused. You know, my dad was like, okay, well, what were they going to do? Well, how are we going to handle this? Blah, 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 you know? And my father understood one thing, that I was young, naive. That if I was going to take a decision myself, of course, I wouldn't have taken the right decision. So because of the fact that I was still a child, I was not yet an adult, my father took a decision for me. In fact, I remember my mom, a deaconess in the church, you know, she was like, no, Bini. You know, my mom was like, hey, she was so hungry. She gave me the, oh my God. She gave me the worst beating of my life. You know, she was disappointed, and she was like, my Bini, you're going to have this child. But my dad asked me one question, that, do you really want to have this child? I was confused. My dad said something that if you want to have this, you will have it and you will go back to school. But you are not having anything to do with this person that got me pregnant. You know? And I told my daddy, no, that I wasn't ready. My daddy stood by me. In fact, till tomorrow, I will forever be proud of my father, because he stood by me, took me to a very reputable hospital, paid thousands of naira. I was at that hospital for 3 days, and that pregnancy was aborted. I came back home and, you know, I started living my life again, and today I am proud of what I have become. Proud of my father, that my father stood by me and took that decision on my behalf. So what am I trying to get at? A 15-year-old girl got pregnant. As a parent, what are you supposed to do? Like I said, you know, we have children that that are well brought up in Christian homes, in, you know, religious homes, responsible parents, but somehow they got derailed. And it happens. It can happen to anybody. So a 15-year-old girl, Bimbo, got pregnant at that time. As a parent, you were not supposed, because she was just a child. She was a child, 15-year-old. 15 years does not know anything. Because she started having sex early doesn't mean that she's wise. Doesn't mean that she knows everything. And then she got pregnant, and as a parent, you think the best is to allow her marry that person. That is where I'm coming for parents. I am not judging our parents, but I'm just saying that maybe if this thing has been handled differently, maybe she would have had her life back. Maybe she would have gone to school. Maybe she would have, you know, done everything that she's supposed to do, and she will be alive today, living well. You know, because then she was a child. She couldn't make a right decision all by herself. So the parents were left to make the decision for her. And, you know, just like our society, Maybe the parents made that decision because, oh, what will people say? What will family members say? You know, what if I allow her to have the baby in my house, you know, what will people call me? What would my church members say? We are always concerned about what people will say. Maybe that was the reason why the parents allowed her to go ahead and marry that man. And immediately, she went ahead. Few years down the line, she started having other children. And eventually she had 5 children. From the age of 15. You know what, that alone, you know, telling her to go ahead and marry that man at that age, what that showed that man then was that you didn't care about your child. Because at 15, what does she know? You know, people will say a lot of things. You know, people will say, if I'm the one, no, she will have that baby and she will go ahead and marry that man. Our culture, that's what people will say. People will say, no, God forbid, my God does not, I am this and that in the church. So if it happens, no, she has to go with the man. She cannot abort. She cannot do this. I am telling you, parents, people would give you their own opinions, things that they cannot do if it happens to them. They will tell you things that they will never do. In fact, some people are doing terrible things in their closet. Some people, their children are committing terrible atrocities, yet they cover it up and they come and they tell you that, oh, if I'm the one, no, my child gets pregnant, no, she's going to marry that man. I cannot abort, I cannot do that. As a parent, when things like this happens, please don't push your child. Don't push your child to that person only in the name of trying to keep a good name. All in the name of trying to look responsible to other people. Now, this lady has ended it all. I wonder if the parents are alive today, what will be going through their minds. I'm sure they will be blaming themselves that, oh, if I had known, if we had known, we would have just, allowed her to have the baby and then let her go back to school. Or if we had known, we would have, aborted this baby. I am not saying that abortion is right. I am not in support of it. But if it happens, you have option. God is merciful. Do not, because of what people will say, because of the society, because of what family members will say, your friends, because of what your church, your pastors will say, and put your child's life in danger. Imagine a 15-year-old girl getting pregnant, and the best that a parent could do was to send her to the man's house. And the man abused her all her life. Because as far as I'm concerned, the moment you gave her to that man, sent a message that she can do anything, you can do anything with her. Sent a message to him that you didn't really care about your child. Because a 15-year-old girl, for God's sake, shouldn't even smell marriage. Kí ló ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀? We all make mistakes. I am not in support of early sex, but the reality, the truth is, it can happen to anybody. So don't look at what people will say. Do what is best for your child. Do what is best for your child when situations like that arise. In fact, somebody was telling me about a woman that would always act all right, all good in front of everybody, that would, talk down on other people's children, say, no, my child cannot do this. My child is this, my child. Meanwhile, this woman placed her own daughter on contraceptives because she knew that her daughter was already sexually active. Meanwhile, she was telling other people that, no, my child cannot do that. This cannot do that. She was condemning other people's children. People have secrets. People have things that they are doing, that they are going through, that you don't know. So, if things happen, if your child make mistakes, please don't neglect them. Don't listen to what people are saying or will say. Do what is best for your child. In that situation, what is best for that child is not to send her to live with a man. No. This lady, according to our messages, our Insta messages, she spoke about how she paused her life for so many years just because of this guy, to take care of the children. She did not have a life outside that home. And upon everything that she did, this guy was still abusing her. She was so abused that her mental state, her mentality was messed up. Because what will happen? I can imagine. I'm just trying to imagine what will happen, that will make a woman set a house on fire. As in, she was frustrated. She started young. When our mates were going to school, when our mates were, doing good in life, she was busy making children for this animal called husband. So, I just want to encourage parents, when things happen, when your children make mistakes, please don't condemn them. Because as far as I am concerned, I may be wrong, but at that age, 15 years old, telling her to get married to that man at that age was condemnation for me by the family. They could have done better. They could have done better. And then coming back to how she came out publicly, I think 2019, because I read it. How she came out and, she said she was going through an abusive marriage. In fact, I don't know the reason why she had to go back. I don't know the reason why she stayed on. Some people will say, okay, because of the children. Some people will say because of money. But my question is this. Where will the children be now? How are they going to live their life without you, knowing that you died? Leaving them to suffer. How do you want them to reckon with that? I wish she didn't go back. And there are so many women like that out there today, that they will be going through abuse. They will be going through dangerous domestic violence. Yet they will just stay there, thinking that what would they do? Some people would think, oh, he would say, if I leave, who will pay my children's school fees? My dear, somehow, some way, you will survive. Just take that bold step. First, leave. Don't stay on in an abusive relationship. It's not worth it. I keep saying this thing. Jesus already died for my sins, so I ain't going to die for anybody. I'm not ready to die for anybody. That it's not love. Jesus paid the highest price. So I am not designated to do it again. It's just so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate that she ended it that way. But then, my pain is the fact that, she started having children at 15. She got pregnant. Why didn't the parents stop her from going ahead with the marriage? Why did they allow her at 15 to go and be with a man just because she was pregnant? Was it because of their position in the society? Was it because of their position in their religious houses? Or was it because of what family members would say? Was it because of the shame that it would bring to them in the neighborhood? All those things doesn't matter. I remembered vividly then, my dad helped me to gain back my self-esteem. He would always tell me, yes, you made the mistake, but you are brilliant, you can do this, you can do that, you can do this. He was always encouraging me. Sometimes if I want to go out, for example, my mom sent me on errand and I was like, I don't want to go out, I'm ashamed. My daddy would tell me to go. You know that, yes, you made the mistake, but you're not going to kill yourself over it. Not that he did not scold me. He did. But he did not condemn me. My mom, too, didn't condemn me. She scolded me. Initially, she was so like, she was so ashamed. Initially, she was like, what would people say? People in our church, a old deaconess's daughter. But later on, she had to support me. She stood by me. She helped me through it. So, your children can make mistakes. Please, do not condemn them. Sincerely, this morning, the news just changed my vibes. I'm telling you. But then, things happen. And I pray. I sincerely pray that God will overlook our sins and our soul will rest in peace. But for that man, well, I know God is a God of vengeance. And I pray that God will help each and every one of us. Stay blessed and have a beautiful weekend. Bye, everyone.